best show that we've ever had. We did over 35,000 at this last show and it ended up making it our best month the company has ever had with doing over 60K.
All right, so Peyton, a lot of people have seen your testimonials or they've seen, the screenshots I've posted about you and your success. But I wanted to get an update. We're in October now. How did last month do? How did you do in September?
Absolutely. So September was really exciting. The month started slow because I took a whole entire week off to go on vacation with my family, our first vacation of the year, because I've been hustling. And I was hoping and crossing my fingers. My consistent amount pretty much for the majority of this year has been 50K. And so I was like, I think we can do it. But this last weekend just blew us out of the water. We had a show where, best show that we've ever had. We did over 35,000 at this last show and it ended up making it our best month the company has ever had with doing over 60K. So it kind of blew me out of the water. I didn't know what we were going to be able to do, but September was by far the best month that we've ever had.
Well, so you said you did 35,000 at one event.
Over the weekend. So yeah, my single event that I had, we had a couple little tiny pop-ups in there as well. So I did 30 at that event, and then over the other couple little events, there was 5K.
Wow.
But one event on Saturday alone, that one event did 20K.
Wow. So you made $20,000 in one day, and then the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday you made about 35,000 total with permanent carry.
Correct.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
And so I love that. I love that because the fact is you went on vacation in September and it was still your best month ever.
Yes, absolutely. And sitting at before, like after vacation and then before this weekend, we were more sitting at like the 25-ish thousand mark. And so, I was hoping to be able to get to that 50K that I've been able to hold, but I knew with going on vacation, it could kind of throw things off. So yeah, not only did we hit it, but we hit our best month ever with going up to 60. So 60K club, here I am.
Congrats. Yeah, I think you're our
Thank you.
first. You're our first 60K club person. So,
Yay! I don't
um,
even know if it's a thing, but I just made it if it's not. So,
hey, it's a thing now. Um,
okay.
I guess a lot of people are probably wondering, with that event where you did 35,000, or even the Saturday where you did 20,000 in one day, how many people did you have welding?
I had two welders and one seller. The seller was my mom, who is absolutely amazing at sales. And then I personally welded over 3/4 of it. And then I had an additional welder for the last quarter.
Okay, so it was you and one other welder, and then you had your mom selling and, I guess taking payments.
So our welders took payments.
Okay, gotcha. Awesome, and that's probably that's another good point. Is like how do you maximize events to get the most people flowing through?
When we have a line going like we did, I have two lines coming out of my tent basically. So my mom or my seller will look to see which side is going a little bit faster or slower, get people loaded into that side. After they've picked their chain, they have their sticky note that has their chain number as well as their connectors that they're doing. And then so that way they just hand that to the welder when they walk up to us. And then she has them scan our waiver. So that is ready to go. And then as well as fill out the raffle ticket for the raffle that we're doing. So by the time they've been hanging out in line, we've basically been entertaining them with things to do to make that time go faster. And then by the time they're with us, we just pull their chain, apply their jewelry, and take their payment.
Okay, and then what percentage would you say, or like on a rough estimate, were people doing like sterling silver versus gold filled versus gold?
So out of everybody that we did 300. I had 300 waivers. So we did more pieces, but I had 300 waivers this weekend. And of that, I know that I did four pieces of solid gold. And then 70% is 14 karat gold filled. And then I would say like 29% is the sterling silver. And then I only had like 1% that was stainless steel, which is for like little kids.
Okay, gotcha. So basically, 70% of your stuff is gold filled.
Yeah, the yellow gold filled is definitely most popular. I also carry rose gold filled just because it's one of my personal favorite tones. But that is a very small percentage of what we do. It's just something that I have because it's personally one of my favorites.
Awesome. And so, is there anything that you've learned this month, or I should say last month, that you feel like was kind of eye opening or anything like that?
To really pour into myself, I get really caught into pushing and pushing and pushing because like the next event, the next thing, the next piece. So really in this last month, I think what a huge change that I've also put in is I really started focusing on my mental state. Actually, I'm actually like exercising every day again. Like I really started pouring myself back into myself so I can be the best version of me to be able to go out there and like energy attracts like energy. And so that was one of the big changes that I had in September is like where my mental state was going of like knowing that I could do what I needed to do to be able to hit those big goals that we had. So I wasn't messing with myself basically. Like I just knew that I could push forward. And also, like in this September as well, we're expanding to two more physical locations. So, with that, we're building those out, we're getting those set and ready to launch. And so, there's just been a lot of those pieces going on. So, with that expansion, there's those growing pains. And so, to really like learn with them and continue to grow and expand rather than letting those be a deterrent to set me back.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, health is so important because you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have health, then it's not good.
Absolutely. And also in September, like taking that time to actually get out of town and be with my family and that kind of thing is something that I really needed to like reset my clock. And really, you get stuck in that culture of like continuing to push and do the things that you need to do. So to actually like to focus on my family for that week was also something that I think really built September to be what it was.
Awesome. Because I know sometimes we get so caught up hustling that I don't know if you feel this way. Sometimes I feel guilty that I don't spend more time with my family. And so being able to set that vacation time aside or that quality time aside is important.
100%. I have three kiddos. So, like, it's really easy to have the mom guilt of like balancing it all, but it's also like I'm doing this for them and I'm building it for them. And so, being able to balance to be there for the things that I need to be there for, but also like fill my cup with them is really important to me.
Speaking of balancing, people are probably thinking like, well, you're making, 50 to 60K a month. You must be super busy. What does your typical day, like your routine look like?
So as far as jewelry goes, I'm generally like actual applications and clients besides show weekends, like appointments during the day is like 1 to 2 hours. So, and I average in store 500 to 1,000 an hour. So you don't have to actually be in there for a lot of time to be able to make the money that I'm making. Um, but I'm also going to be switching out a little bit of different feels of doing more like open hours with some of the new locations, having like employees being there for like the more popular hours, so like evenings and weekdays, weekends, to see if that kind of builds. So we're gonna be trying out some different things as well. But like my typical day, I start with my like it was a book, but I attach it to myself. My miracle morning to like set and be able to pour stuff out. I like group fitness, so I don't tend to work out by myself. So that's somewhere in my day. Sometimes it's in the morning, like first thing at 6:30 a.m., and then sometimes it's my last thing at night at my like 8 o'clock class. But it's worked in somewhere in there. I'm in the studio for a few hours, and then other than that, I'm working on accounting, ordering, just all the pieces to be able to make things run and schedule and grow.
And I'm sure on weekends you're doing a lot of events.
Yep, generally Friday, Saturday, Sunday are our big event days. So this coming Saturday, I have four events in one day. So Friday I have one event, Saturday I have four events, and then Sunday I have two events. So we have a busy weekend coming up.
I mean, how do you manage like four events in one day?
I've never done it before. So this is gonna be my first time of where we're actually four different places. Last year for the same main huge event that's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I didn't put anything else that weekend because I was like, okay, I don't know how like we're gonna make it through this one. And so having four events in one day, but there were just opportunities that I couldn't turn down. And so I'm a big one that you jump and you figure out how to land on your way down. And so they approached me, I said yes, and we were just kind of going from there to see what happens. But I have 12 people working for me this weekend, so we have plenty of staff. My husband is going to be getting everything set up and broken down and all that. And so I kind of have our balance of where exactly we need to be and our schedules and everything. And so hopefully it goes off without a hitch.
Awesome. And that's one, I think that's one thing that people can really learn from this is, I talk to a lot of people who are different, successful in different industries, different markets, and there's one common denominator. It's being able to take quick action and not like, yes, you look at the details, you want to make sure everything goes great, but you're not putting so much pressure on yourself that you're paralyzed. I think a lot of people, to think, oh, I got to manage four different events and trust 12 different people to work for me, like that would be too much pressure or stress for most people.
Yep. Well, and I'm a huge person who, for a lot of years, I was stuck in analysis paralysis, that everything had to be my perfectionist, perfect way for anything to happen. And having kids and moving 1,000 miles away from the place I've ever known home, like, you have to change, you have to adjust, and you have to be adaptable, and then that's how you're going to be able to get ahead. And so, yeah, I mean, there has been events that I've signed up for that I was like, you know what, like, I just can't make this work, and so I end up having to back out. But it's rare and few and far between, just because when you put it out there, the people that you need, like, if that saying, like, if you build it they will come, it's truly what happens. And you just put it out there and you see how it goes. I mean, out of those 12 people, I have 3 people working that were trained last weekend. Like, I have 3 brand new people, but it's better than nothing. And we're just gonna go. I'm at the biggest event that's gonna have the most welding time, because I need to get the most amount of people through and put the newer people at the slower, smaller events. And it's balance, right? Like, it's not gonna all go out perfect without a hitch, but it's still gonna be better than if we didn't do it. So it's 100%.
And do you pay them basically like contractors or employees? Like how does that structured?
Yeah, so my welders are contractors, and then we do an hourly plus commission. I mean, tips. And then sometimes we do like a commission on like special extra things, that kind of thing.
So Peyton, after making over 600,000 since you started permanent jewelry, what are the biggest misconceptions people have about a permanent jewelry business?
I from the feedback that I get, I think one of the biggest things is that people think that it's like your traditional business, where it's going to take months and years for you to be able to start to see returns on your investment. And I can say, after going through links training and going through all of your blueprints for how you advertise and everything else to be able to be successful, that you really can be successful in permanent jewelry within weeks amount of time, where you are making that $500 an hour or more, just by following the blueprint that you're given throughout training, because you're given all of the tools you need to be successful, but not only to be successful, but to be successful really fast.
So what do you think sets Linked apart from other training companies?
I think that you have been through it, right? Like, so you have your own permanent jewelry companies, you have the chain, you have all of the pieces. And so it's not just training on the theories, it's actually training on what you've actually been through, and having those success stories turn into your formula of what is actually being taught in a step by step basis. So when you want to be good at something, you go to the expert, because you don't want to have to go through all the fluff of learning that yourself. And I think that's what really sets it apart, is going through, of you've been through all of those pieces. And also too, just the knowledge of, social media. Like, I think that's a huge aspect that's not taught at all. And having that social media aspect adds all of those pieces built into the training, is setting you up for success in all areas, rather than just learning how to weld.
Yeah, I know these days all the training companies say they have like marketing knowledge and marketing stuff. Like, how would you say our marketing sets us apart?
I can also just tell you from experience of being able to work with your marketing as well, that it 100% transformed my business. I've opened multiple brick and mortar companies over the years, and I would always say marketing was my downfall. I'm not great at Instagram and those pieces. I fall off the bandwagon, but I've had consistent clients coming in and consistent sales because of ads, and knowing that those ads are bringing in and getting my name out there, and brand recognition is a huge piece, just between like the Instagram bio audits and what to do on your story captions and your reels and all of those pieces, your highlight bubbles, like really getting everything to be clear and concise to what is going to attract your ideal customer. It's a huge difference than just being like, oh, like, post your schedule. So like, it's a really in-depth of what to do with social media, because that's one of Link's, I think, biggest assets, is what has already been successful in social media, and then transferring that over to the permanent jewelry world.
Awesome. And for those who say that ads don't work or they're scared ads are not going to work, how much did you do last month in permanent jewelry?
So last month in permanent jewelry, I did over $60,000. It was our first month of doing that, which is super exciting. But the majority of my in-store clients come from ads. It's important for brand recognition and all those pieces. So you can say that that's something that's not important and you just need to build your company. But like, if you want to be seen and show up, especially where I live, there's over 2 million people. Like, you need to be able to be targeting those exact audiences that are looking for exactly what I offer. And that's something that I could spend weeks and months trying to throw spaghetti at the wall to figure out. Or you can have an ad that's specifically targeted for that. So I think it's a total game changer for business, but for sure for the permanent jewelry world.
That's awesome. And I know 60K was your biggest month ever, but what is your average month in permanent jewelry?
So we have been holding at 50,000, which is just like mind blown for me. But we have done over $600,000 in permanent jewelry, 655 to be exact, at this moment, in permanent jewelry sales since we started, and it's just continuing to grow and get more popular. And especially when you have a brand standing behind you that is quality, that you are backed up with the education and just everything that you're needing to be able to grow and be successful, where you're not just, it's not a guessing game, that you know what exactly to do.
Awesome. So if they're on the fence about starting permanent jewelry and they're looking into Linked, what would you tell them?
I would tell them, find a company that has really truly like great values, and that's what I did when I found Linked and I started to work with Jake. You never know, you see everything and all of those kind of pieces, and working with Jake has been such a huge transformation just between his character, how he truly cares about all of his clients, about how you're actually able to directly speak to him if you're needing something. And also his team that he's personally trained is taking it to the next level rather than just, doing the base of what needs to be done. And so I've worked with a lot of companies that don't have that personal touch, and to be able to have someone who genuinely cares and is actually wanting people to be successful is a huge difference than just having something where it's like, oh, well, here's a training that's online and have fun. And so that's why I personally decided to go with Linked. And I can say that over the last 2 years of working with Linked and working with Jake, that it has not only built my business and my career and everything else, but I've also gained like personal like friendship with someone, because he does generally care about his clients, and that's not something you can say about a lot of companies.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. That means a lot because that's really what we're going for. Is I always want to make sure our customers are not just customers. I want to build relationships and really treat them amazing. That way we can have the best, success stories in the industry, the best results in the industry. And so thank you for being awesome. I think you're an inspiration to anyone looking into not only permanent jewelry, but just running a business in general. Like you're awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And thank you for giving me the blueprint for me to be able to run, because that's what it took for me to be able to shoot for the moon, right?
Awesome. Congrats on your best month ever last month, 60K. And that's amazing. Most people will never make $60,000 in a month. And so, most people are happy to make that in a year. And so the fact that, you've been able to do that with permanent jewelry is pretty awesome.
Thank you. Absolutely. It's, when I started, it was scary. I'm sure people know by now, like it sat in my closet for a year, or more. And so it's really cool to see the way that it's progressed, the trust that I've been able to put into myself, to not be afraid to fail, and to just know that if I'm doing it, it's happening, and to really see how it's being received and how it's growing and what the market is turning into is just, it's phenomenal. Like, to be on the front end of this, which is where even everyone is right now, is just a total game changer for my family. And I know it is for so many others. And it's a great industry that I get to be a part of. And I feel so blessed and lucky that it's what it is turning into, because it's so much fun. And I love my life on a day-to-day basis because of it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And here's to next month. Let's beat it out of the water.
For sure.